Hello, grade 12 scholars. My name is Ms. Novak, and we are in week 9, lesson 43 of your ELA Distance Learning. What can you expect from these videos? Well, first, you know that each video will follow a specific sequence. I'll always provide you with a list of materials and resources. We'll move through an overview of the day's learning. I'll even model maybe perhaps a writing assignment or a close read procedure. And of course, we'll preview the next day's learning. I cannot believe we're in lesson 43. Lesson 43 and day 5 of this week, which you know is a culminating lesson. So the video title is G12W9L43. We are still operating in the sphere of the same article, but today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be analyzing details and actually connecting to the essential question. So a critical lesson to ensure that we understand exactly what the author intended, as well as affirm our own understanding of the piece. 3 quick reminders. Make sure that you're making time and space to share your learning with someone, even apart from the discussion embedded within this lesson. Next, you'll complete your weekly fluency activity. So just so you know, Fridays are all about beating your previous time. So it's like going back to the reading, timing yourself, and seeing how much you improved. And last but not least, make time for that 20 minutes of independent reading. You'll thank yourself later. And here's today's riddle of the day. Very interesting. I just don't know about this one. Like yesterday, like today. I want to give it away, I'm not sure though. So if you need additional time, pause the video right now because I'm about to reveal the answer in the next slide. I definitely thought that I had this one, even though it didn't make sense. Like yesterday, like today, I said like tomorrow, but really the answer is like no tomorrow. And I don't know if you've ever heard this expression, but essentially if someone says, oh, I did this like it's no tomorrow, I spend money like it's no tomorrow, means you do that something a lot without thinking of the consequences, as if there were no tomorrow. This was a very clever one. I now appreciate it, even if I didn't get it at first. Now that we are all warmed up, let's take some time to organize ourselves. So lesson 43 is on page 135 of your learning packet. The note catcher is on page 136. Text is still on page 124 to 126, and you have something to write with, maybe even a highlighter. Make sure you gather these materials together before you start today's learning. Pause the video if you have to. This slide means so much to me today, and I'll tell you why. Because today is all about connecting our learning to the essential question. So the essential question, hopefully you have it ingrained right now, is what does it mean to call a place home? Our guiding questions are what makes a place important enough to write about, and in what ways is home both a place and a state of mind? Again, I'm super excited about this because we're connecting our writing efforts to the essential question, and it's all going to be good. I can't wait. Our learning target for today reads, I can use my understanding of a text to respond to the unit's essential question. We've been with this text now for 4 days and we know it pretty well. So let's try to stretch our capacity and actually formulate a response in writing. It has to do with that essential question that we've now seen every single lesson. Let's get started. And now for an overview of today's learning. So we'll begin by rereading the article. Yes, rereading the article. But keep in mind, as we're doing so, we're trying to review our annotations at the same time. Next, you'll be thinking and talking about what military families might appreciate about Camp Pendleton and what they might find challenging. You'll end today's official lesson by writing a response to the essential question, using evidence from the text in your response. And of course, you'll always be making time to independently read for 20 minutes, to practice your fluency, to discuss the lesson even further, all that good stuff. Take this time to begin your reading efforts, or I should say rereading efforts. I want you to reread the article and the annotations that you made. Look at your notes in the margins, and feel free to add to those annotations. Pause the video at this point and do this now. Now for the thinking and talking components of today's lesson. I want you to think about the following question. What do military families appreciate most about Camp Pendleton? And what might they find challenging? If you want to reference the text, which I highly recommend that you do, think back to the firsthand accounts that were captured in the article, right? Those anecdotes from people who actually lived on the base or had a close connection to it. Take some time to think about this. You might even go back and review your annotations again before you launch into discussion. Pause the video to do this now. And now for our culminating writing activity. Your writing test today actually requires you to write 2 paragraphs in response to this question. Just so you know. Think about what reading this text has helped you understand about what people call home. I want you to write 2 paragraphs to answer this question. What does it mean to call a place home? So this is the essential question. I want you to use evidence from the text to back up your response. Now, here's something important to point out. Most of the text is about the camp, not individual homes, right? Not actually the home itself, the family unit within the home. But even so, we can still get a sense of what military families may need in order for a place to feel like home. What are those things? And do any surprise you? Make sure you capture both your reactions to this as well as evidence to back it up in your response. Pause the video, take some time to complete this writing now. As always, if you have any questions about today's lesson, or even if you want to share your writing sample, feel free to email your teacher at their first name, their last name at detroitk12.org. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. We are ready for lesson 44 next week. The learning target is, I can read and summarize an article. Pretty straightforward, right? It's going to take us to a different place though. I'm just going to give you a little hint with the title of the article. Colorful Fabric Structures at Smithsonian Explore What Home Means. We know we're going in a different direction for this. I hope you're as excited as I am. It's definitely going to open up our view around the concept of home. Again, this is all about what this unit is. As always, thank you so much for learning with me today. It was a very robust week of learning, and I know there was a lot to unpack, so I really appreciate you sticking the way through. A few quick reminders. Don't forget to talk about this lesson with someone else, especially if they have an interest in the military. Next, read for 20 minutes. Log your activity. Ask questions of the text. Don't just leave it hanging. Better yet, even talk to someone else about what you're reading. And third, make sure that you are practicing your fluency. Remember, Friday is all about going back to your initial reading efforts and comparing the time it takes you to read that portion of text. Highly recommend you engage in this activity. It's a game against yourself, but a good one. We'll see you next week for lesson 44.